Critical thinking is a process of objectively and rationally analyzing information, ideas, and arguments in order to make well-informed decisions. It is an essential skill that is needed for solving problems and making sound judgments. To develop critical thinking abilities, one must first recognize their own biases and assumptions. Acknowledging these biases can help to avoid letting them cloud one's judgment. Gathering and evaluating evidence is also important when making decisions or forming opinions. It is crucial to consider multiple sources of information and to evaluate their credibility and relevance. Analyzing arguments and evaluating reasoning is also an important aspect of critical thinking. When presented with an argument or claim, it is important to consider the logic and evidence behind it, and to look for contradictions, gaps in reasoning, and other flaws in the argument. Considering alternative perspectives is also crucial. It is essential to consider multiple viewpoints and to be open to the possibility that one's own perspective may be incomplete or flawed. Applying logic and reasoning, effectively communicating, and continuously reflecting and learning are also key components of critical thinking. To put critical thinking into practice, one can use the skills in problem solving by breaking down the problem into smaller parts, identifying the relevant information, considering multiple solutions, evaluating the pros and cons of each solution and choosing the best option. In decision-making, one should identify the decision that needs to be made, gather information, consider multiple options, evaluate the pros and cons of each option and choose the best option. In evaluating information, one should identify the source of information, determine the credibility of the source, evaluate the relevance of the information, consider the bias of the source, and evaluate the evidence presented. In evaluating arguments, one should identify the main claim or conclusion, identify the evidence or reasons provided, evaluate the logic of the argument, identify any contradictions or fallacies, and consider alternative perspectives. In communicating, one should clearly state their main point, provide evidence to support their claims, use logical reasoning, anticipate and address counterarguments, and be open to feedback and willing to revise their position. In conclusion, critical thinking is a crucial skill that can be developed and honed through practice. By recognizing one's own biases, gathering and evaluating evidence, analyzing arguments, and considering alternative perspectives, one can make well-informed decisions and solve problems more effectively. Additionally, continuously reflecting and learning, and effectively communicating one's thinking are also key components in the process of critical thinking.